Okay, now do the alarm thing. Okay, now stop. Start again. Stop. This thing's fried. No, it's not on fire, it's just...
But it can go on fire.
Okay.
Must be prepared.
Alright.
But that kind of suggests to me that it's the thing, right? How do you open this? Write a story.
Now on the way past Kwai and onto Southgate Moremi. It's going to be quite a long drive as well. Seems to be all dirt road, a little bit sandy, quite bumpy. We left at about 1 o'clock. Took us a while to get up, pack up, film the review of the campsite. We always try to review the campsite after we've stayed there a couple of days on our last day, because then you really got a feeling for the amenities and facilities and goings on at the campsite. And now we're on the road. So the road's very bumpy. We are trying to stay close to 40 kilometers per hour, which is the speed limit. However, it's not so simple because it's really bumpy, and there's some sharp curves as well. From Sabuti campsite to Southgate Moremi, it's about 160 kilometers. We are hoping it's going to take about 4 hours. Might take more, might take less, depending on what the cut road is like. So our arrival time there would be approximately 5 p.m. according to my estimation. My estimations are often wrong. So I don't know what time we're going to arrive there. But the intent is to try and get there at 5 p.m. So hopefully a little bit earlier. We'll see how it goes. The road's quite bumpy, it's quite a bit of ups and downs, it's narrow, so we've also got to give way for people at some points where we bump into other people. But it's a struggle to get to 40 kilometers an hour consistently because it is so up and down. So areas like this, where the car is doing that, then you drop to 20 and try and keep your teeth in your head.
Oh, wow.
Okay, wow.
Wow. Okay. Woo.
Once we got to Mababe, they informed us that we must take a shortcut to get to what is a gravel road that we're on now. So it's a proper built gravel road, and we're definitely doing much better time now on this road. Our ETA is still approximately 5 o'clock or so, but this is a much nicer road now. There are still significant dips on the road, so you do have to slow down quite significantly. So you drive sometimes a couple hundred meters, sometimes a bit more, then you've got to slow down quite a lot. But it's much easier going. One thing I'll say about driving in Botswana is it is slow on average. Even the dirt roads are slow. Sandy roads, very slow. Basically, we need to check in at Kwai Gate, and if we do that, we are then in the Moremi Park, and then we can make our way to Southgate where we're camping. So as long as we check in at Kwai Gate, then we're actually in the park, so the anxiety of getting to camp as quickly as possible is a bit reduced. Right, we are in Moremi Park, and we got in here in decent time. We weren't too far off actually on our initial calculations. Now we are heading to Southgate, which is where we're coming Northgate, that's the Kwai area, and we're heading towards Southgate, which is where we are camping for the night. So hopefully we'll see something on the way. We'll see how that goes. Happy to be in Moremi. Been looking forward to it.
Smells, eh? Damn.
We're sleeping over at Southgate just for one night. Our true destination is Third Bridge. A little bit of a gamble because Third Bridge does get closed when there's a lot of water. We should be safe at this time, but we're probably getting quite close to the significant rains, so we don't know if it'll definitely be open, but hoping it's going to be the case. Nice relaxed end to the day. Was a little bit nerve-wracking driving here, but once we got to Mababe Gate and got out of Chobe, it was pretty easy going, and surprisingly for once my calculations were not very far off, and we did get the advantage of driving through Northgate and therefore being within Moremi from there on, so we didn't have to rush from there to our campsite. Got our campsite in good time. Sun was still up, so managed to put the tent up, get some food going, go for a shower, come back after the shower, have a nice chilled braai and a drink to celebrate a successful day. Using the rooftop tent today because we need to get up quickly tomorrow morning, and we don't want to spend any time or lose any time getting to Third Bridge. That is our major destination, so gonna get up as early as we reasonably can and pack up the rooftop tent and get moving.
I think your light was a bit Brighter.
More focused.
Let me try and show my lights as well. Oh, it's going through the thing, sorry. That's the smoke.
Let's try the chicken birds maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
First time I've seen an image. This close up and
Oh yeah, this long.
mm.
True actually, you know.
Good night's rest, easy start to the day. We're all packed up and ready to go. Unfortunately, it looks like we have an issue with the wild dog and it is not starting.
Is it stuck to the
The most used span of all is the one that's missing right now. And also the one that we need. So it's missing from right there first.
Maybe a short circuit somewhere, it's not clear where, but the battery is dead.
old car like this?
Spark here. First, yeah. Your ignition first, right? Yeah. Then I'm going to say on the button. Press the button. Yeah. So turn it on first.
Like ignition, right?
Okay, now the alarm. Okay. Start again. Stop. This thing's fried. No, it's not on fire, it's just...
But it can go on fire.
Okay,
Must be prepared.
alright.
But that kind of suggests to me that it's the thing, right? Write a story. Don't you want to just kick it off there with that branch behind you?
It's not on fire. It's just.
But it tried to start, did you hear?
Yeah, it did.
So it's the battery.
Yes, it's the battery.
We should have asked those guys if we could start our car with their battery.
Yeah, we should have. Anyway, okay, we didn't, right? So let's see if we can pass this guy. Stop the car.
Nobody has a car here, I already asked them.
Oh, and the game vehicle is not fast enough. They must be gone by now. Oops. Alright. Well, that's the end of this guy.
Sorry. That's my idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea. Now we know. We wouldn't have known otherwise.
So is it because it's not strong enough to start the thing? We don't have anything else. So what that guy can do is bring a battery here. If only we can get someone to start the car for us now, right?
Yeah, we can at least keep moving. And
But
somebody
then
else.
we can't ever switch it off.
Well, until we get to the third bridge, and somebody else has to come start.
Unfortunately, there's no one camping in the campsite here today. There's absolutely no one at all in the camp besides us. Gonna have to head off to the office and hopefully find some assistance.
Hey, I'm gonna stay in the shade, seriously. Thank you for lending us your car. Yeah.
Interesting start to the day today. Packed up, got the car drive ready, as we call it, and jumped in the car ready to go. Turned the ignition on, turned the key, and nothing happened. So a bit worrying, of course. Couldn't start the car. Got out all the tools and the multimeter and whatever else. Checked the voltages on the batteries. Both were looking pretty good. 12.6 volts, both of them. And checked fuses. Fuses were fine. Found one fuse that was blown, but that fuse is not relevant to starting the car. Somebody else came in with another car, tried to jump start. Nothing worked. We've got a little jump start kit that I got as a gift, which I was always skeptical about, but thought, well, let's try it out anyway. It's just a little battery. We'll try to jump start with that, and still
nothing going as well. So I wasn't sure what the problem was. The batteries seemed to be okay. We opened up the one battery that can be opened up and saw that the water levels were very low. So topped up the water from that with bottled water. That's all we have, or that's the best quality water we have. Tried again, didn't help. Started making hissing sounds as well. So that should have been our first clue that there's a major problem with that battery. Anyway, somebody else came along and we thought, okay, let's try and jump start. So we tried to jump start with that battery still connected. This car's got two batteries in the engine compartment. You need both batteries to start the car. Anyway, still didn't start even with jump starting from another car that was running. So I started to think that it's not the batteries and maybe it's the starter or the coil, something in the electrical system. And so checked the starter motor to see if there's any kind of short there. Gave me 100 ohms, which implies that the starter motor is fine. Again, went through the wiring, nothing. One of the guys from the office was adamant that it must be the battery and that we should disconnect it and try and start the car with that battery disconnected. So took my little jump starter kit, connected that. It started turning, the engine started cranking, started kicked, suddenly started disintegrating, started smoking quite heavily, at which point my significant other ran to go and get the fire extinguisher. It didn't catch a light, but it certainly smoked a lot and it was clear that its life was over. But at least the engine was cranking, so then we knew that we could probably start the engine by disconnecting the battery and jump starting it. So fortunately found somebody else to come and jump start. But yes, jump started the car started, now it's running. Trying to get a battery now is quite a story, but we've managed to arrange a battery which is going to collect it tomorrow. But that means we're going to drive to Third Bridge now, and then on our way back we will then drive back to Northgate, collect the battery from Kwai, and then drive back to Third Bridge. So yeah, we cannot switch the engine off until we get to Third Bridge, and hopefully we'll get somebody to jump start there. But we're going to check out some wild dog now. It's been an interesting day so far. Quick stop for some wild dogs. We hardly see wild dogs, so when we do see them we get quite excited.
I think it's just a man.
And some tight turns as well. So yes, luckily we've started the car and we're on our way to Third Bridge. Our primary concern now is to get to Third Bridge, which we should be fine as long as we don't switch the car off. We'll get a battery tomorrow, that's been arranged. If we see something really exciting, we will stop, of course, to see it, but we've got to get to Third Bridge. So yeah, a bit of a stressful start to the day, but glad to be going and glad that it's a relatively small problem. We just got to change a battery, and getting a battery obviously is not easy, but it's not a major vehicle issue. I was very worried. I thought it was the starter because we went through quite a bit of mud and water yesterday. Obviously that would be a big problem because this is an automatic, so can't push start it, so we need that starter to work. Unfortunately though, it's a diesel vehicle, so we can't drive without a working battery or working batteries. If this was a petrol car, we'd be in a much more difficult position. But it looks like we're gonna survive. So the plan is third bridge, and then tomorrow morning we've just got to find somebody that's willing to jump start us, and then we'll be on our way. Again, collect our battery, back to the adventures. Okay, go forward. Or the red letter.
Oh, we weren't actually sure in the
Op die
end.
linkerkant, nou kan jy dit sien. Baie lekker, en op die regterkant nou kan jy sien oë.
Glad to be in camp tonight at Third Bridge in Moremi. We arrived here basically as the sun was setting after our battery trouble, so glad we just made it all the way. Fortunately, the vehicle is automatic, and unfortunate as well because obviously you can't kickstart it. But it being automatic, the chances of it cutting off are also very low. So we made it all the way here, checked in, got our campsite, which is campsite number 3. We've got a blown fuse on the line that feeds the deep cycle battery, so our deep cycle battery wasn't charging. So very quickly got the solar panels out and connected those to our backup system so that we have some power for our bridge. Wasn't a lot, sun was pretty much setting at that point, so got a little bit of power. Every watt counts, so happy for that. And now we set up camp. It's a beautiful campsite where very close to the marsh. Lots of sounds of insects and frogs in the background. The insects are actually not too bad. I was expecting it to be a lot more insecty, but it hasn't been very insecty. So it's really cool. Now we've got a nice fire going. We've got our braai ready to go as well, so we can have a nice braai just now, have some nice lamb chops. Looking forward to that. But very happy to have reached here without any mishaps. We're gonna have to get up early tomorrow morning and head back to Southgate, drive through to Kwai, get a new battery, and hopefully that'll be the end of our problems. We did have to kind of rush here. We didn't have the luxury of stopping for significant amounts of time and enjoying the scenery. It took us a bit more than 3 hours to get here still. We had a beautiful sighting of wild dogs along the way, which we had to stop for, obviously, wild dogs. And other than that, you know, we saw a lot of wildebeest, we saw some zebra, we saw a lot of birds, we saw rooi hartebeest, we saw I want to say red lechwe and a few other things, so that was pretty cool. Elephants, of course, lots of, so that's always nice as well. So it is a good drive here actually, and from what we've seen we got a glimpse of, because we're in a bit of a hurry, it's a really beautiful area. So we're in the Okavango Delta area basically. There's quite a bit of water around, and commensurately there's quite a bit of wildlife around that water. So looking forward to exploring. Tomorrow there's going to be a bit of a rush. We've got to head to Southgate. It's about a 3-hour drive. Make sure we've got time to go get the battery, sort out everything, and then, you know, head back. And if we've got the battery sorted, then obviously we'll take our time on the way back. But looking forward to that as well tomorrow. And tonight I think the idea is to have a nice meal, get to bed, have a rest. It wasn't an extremely difficult day, but it was stressful, and so that is tiring. So looking forward to a good night's rest as well. Got the fuse sorted out this morning for the deep cycle battery. Had a very restful night, I must say. Lots of lions in the background, a couple of hippos to the campsite, elephants as well. A few sounds that we could not quite make out what they were. Some other strange animal whose sound we have never heard before. And now we're heading to Southgate, get our battery changed, and that's hopefully the last of our problems. Get back on our adventure again. Bush is really thick here. There isn't much to see. We see impala, as you would expect. We've seen some zebra, but because the bush is so thick, you kind of zooming past, or it feels like you're zooming past everything, because you only get a very short glimpse through the trees. And so we haven't really seen much. And the road's quite windy, lots of dips as well. So it's a bit of a difficult drive actually. I think we will definitely stick to the third bridge area while we can. Maybe even get an extra night there, depending on how things go. And if there is a campsite available, because it seems like they're fully booked. I'm not surprised though, it's a really nice area. It's a very nice place to camp and to drive about. Our neighboring campers say they saw a lion kill yesterday, giraffe apparently. And it is nice and open there, so hopefully we'll see something cool as well. But today, we have admin to do. Batteries, it's a priority. So, off to Kauai to get a battery from a man. So, got to the mechanic, got the new battery, put the new battery in, started sparking straight away. Took the new battery out, put the old battery back in, started the car, started, tried the new battery again, sparked immediately. Put the old battery in, started the car, no problem. Check the cells on the old battery again. One of the cells is the problem cell. It was again almost empty, so we put a bit of water in there again and fill that up. Started the car again on the old battery, no problem. Switched off the car, started the car again on the old battery, no problem. And then decided, okay, well, we might as well continue with this battery, because the new one, which had exactly the same rating, same size, for some reason it seemed to be short-circuiting when we put it on. So pulled out the multimeter, checked if there was a short circuit across the terminals. Nothing, got 100 ohms. Now we are back on the old battery, which seems to be functioning okay. We haven't had any issues with it. Again, when we get back to camp, we'll open it up, see if that one cell is drying out again. We'll fill it up again. I think what we're going to do now is limp on this existing battery setup we have until we get to Maun. When we get to Maun, then hopefully we can find a battery place and just buy a new battery. It's worth mentioning that the battery from the mechanic was not a brand new battery. It was labeled 2021, so it's a year and some odd old. It's a year and something old. It's less than 2 years old. And he had taken it out of a car where he says he was using it, but unfortunately it didn't work. So it was a nice long drive to Kauai. Now we're heading back to Third Bridge. We're still gonna catch, I think, the best of the wildlife in the late afternoon. So yeah, we got to drive a new route there and back. We got to drive through some swamp as well, which is unexpected, and we had to drive through it. We had no other choice, but it was a very short piece of water to drive through, which I did walk first, and it wasn't very deep, so that wasn't an issue. And now we are going back to Third Bridge. We're going to see as much wildlife as we can in the Third Bridge area, and then go back to our campsite and, I don't know, I suppose put down for the night, have a braai, and continue with the adventure. Maybe we'll see a leopard, lion, who knows?
Deserve a lion sighting.
We deserve a lion sight, yes.
A few moments later.
So we are 50 meters from camp and we have a pride of lions next to us, literally 30 meters away. This is actually quite scary, close to our campsite. Okay, now they're going down into the grass. Show how close they are to the camp.
Fetch the cup, so it's fetch them and then they're heading back to the hill. So they're going to consume it for the whole night. They're going to be there. Even in the morning, they're going to be there.
Sure, bit of activity tonight close to campsite. Lions have made a big giraffe kill, a couple hundred meters from where we are, less than 200 meters actually. It's on the other side of the ablution block, which means walking to the showers tonight is not really an option. So it's great, man. Not so nervous as we were before because we've finally seen these lions and we know they're here and we know they're eating. So yeah, stuff has gotten real. Now we know that the lions do exist very close by. We've seen them. They walked straight past the gate this afternoon, and we managed to, fortunately we were driving back in, so we got a good sighting of them, and then also saw them from just inside the gate. Obviously there's no fences, but everyone is excited to see them, so it was very close up. Botswana has not failed to deliver in respect of big sightings of lions. We've gotten sightings in every park we've been to now. So yeah, cool.
So that's the ablutions with lights all around it. Those are people who heard the lion right there and decided to go find it. And Abdul is one of them. See that one light coming towards us on its own? That's Abdul. On his own. Well, hello. I was just narrating about people that go towards the sound of lion and go looking for lion.
Well, what else would you do?
Did you find your lion?
No, but there's tracks. There's tracks on the road.
Oh,
Yeah, that passed by the road next to the ablutions.
all right.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, it's close by, as you can hear. Maybe it's time to go into the tent.
Oh, yes, maybe.
Right.
Certainly better than going toward the lion. Toward the big male lion.
Well, it's patrolling, so it's walking away from us.
Oh, good. That's good. That's good.
In the tent early tonight, there's one of the two male lions is pretty close to where we are by the sounds of it. It was around the back of the ablution block earlier, and it seems to be within probably 100 meters of where we are, and it's kind of hanging about. It's been roaring in this area a few times. So we initially thought it was probably walking away on its patrol, but because it keeps roaring very close to us, feeling a little bit nervous, and the prudent thing is to call it a night, which is good as well because we need to get up early tomorrow. Major problem with one of our batteries for the Land Cruiser. We cannot start it. We've got to get to Maun tomorrow to replace that battery. It's completely wrecked now. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Get up early, get someone to jumpstart us, and then drive through directly to Maun, and from there hopefully get a new battery and a couple of supplies, and then we are moving on to Kumaga. So early night tonight, lions are about, and much closer than the other nights. Feeling a bit uncertain about sitting outside tonight. Probably not clever. So, good night.